So maybe you're interested in OMAD or intermittent fasting, but you don't know where to start. Well, we're going to tell you how we started in this video coming up. I'm Emily.
I'm Sarah.
We are 35-year-old sisters on a ketogenic weight loss journey. We've struggled with our weight all of our lives, but in 2019, we finally committed to better our health and have successfully lost over 150 pounds combined so far. We aren't perfect, but we are real, and we hope to share our success and our struggles to motivate ourselves and others. So growing up, I remember that a lot of adults would tell me that breakfast was the most important meal of the day. And I never really ever enjoyed breakfast. Did you?
Maybe like breakfast for dinner, but
Or like donuts for breakfast or something like that. But then I remember about, 20, 25 years ago, I started to hear rumblings of this whole, you should eat 5 smaller meals a day. And so I did that for a while, and guess what? I felt worse when I ate 5
and we gained
meals.
weight.
And we gained weight. I really don't think that anybody has the ability to eat less and then also eating 5 times a day. But maybe that was just me. I know that I continued to gain weight even when I did have breakfast and when I did eat 5 what I thought were smaller meals in a day. So I don't know if that's necessarily true. I feel like it's kind of a gimmick to get you to eat more. So I know that for a lot of people, the thought of intermittent fasting or only eating 1 meal a day can seem extreme, but it really isn't when you consider what we're eating for our meal, which is like a giant, crazy, awesome meal. So we're going to tell you about that coming up.
So the beautiful thing about keto or ketosis is that you're naturally less hungry throughout the day because you have fat stores that your body can rely on if you haven't eaten in a long time. So, when I started eating keto, I would generally just eat a couple large meals a day, and I would feel very full and satiated.
I think that when we first did keto in our teens and our 20s, we were able to eat a lot more than we did now and still lose weight. But as we got older, I really don't add things to my diet to increase fat or anything like that. Like I don't make fat bombs or drink bulletproof coffee because I have fat stores that I need to use, so I don't feel like, and I feel satiated only eating once a day. So, Sarah and I don't drink bulletproof coffee, and we don't add fat unless, it's like butter over my steak or something to add flavor into my food. So I would say that if you're going to try to incorporate intermittent fasting or OMAD and you've never done it before, maybe stop eating bulletproof coffee in the morning and stop with the keto bars and keto snacks and fat bombs for now, because I feel like that's the easiest way to cut out a bunch of calories so that you could actually burn off some of the fat that you have on your body instead of eating it. So in the beginning, I would suggest just do that. Cut out all the excess stuff. Like if you're just like, I have 2 snacks a day. Well, are you actually hungry when you're eating those snacks, or are you just eating them because you feel like you can have them because they're keto? So that would be the first step, I would think, is to cut those out. If you're used to eating 3 meals a day and 2 snacks, like you have a couple string cheese in the afternoon and you have a chocolate keto bar or protein bar or whatever, that's still a lot of calories, and you do have to be in a calorie deficit, unfortunately, to lose weight. And so I think that just shaving those things off might yield you results without having to go OMAD or IF. But we have never really eaten those things. So we took it a step further, or a couple of steps further, and we started doing intermittent fasting. I think it was even before the whole intermittent fasting thing started, because I was never really a fan of breakfast. And when I did have breakfast, when I was eating carbs, it would be like coffee cake or a donut right, like something that wasn't nutritious at all, but it tasted good. So if you gave me the choice of eating like bacon and eggs for breakfast, I would have skipped it anyway.
Yeah, I wouldn't have wanted that either.
I would have had a Pop-Tart cold.
Empty calories.
Yes, empty sugary calories. That's what I would eat. But I would never take my mom up on bacon and eggs in the morning. I would just rather have skipped it. Of course, the bacon and eggs probably would have been better for you than the Pop-Tart.
And kept you fuller longer.
Exactly.
But the empty calories, like, oh, by noon, or before that even, I might need a mid-morning snack. What? You know what I mean? So I think that I started actually doing intermittent fasting almost 15 years ago when I was in college, and I was living at home at the time. My mom would make dinner. I would come home late, or I would be gaming all night, and I just wouldn't have time for dinner. And I would save that meal and bring it to college or work the next day. And so I started skipping and having my big meal during lunch. And I would get home, I would repeat the same thing. My mom would make dinner. I wouldn't eat it. I would package it up and bring it the next day to work. So I would have my large meal during work. So just by setting myself up for the next day, I was able to really control when I was eating without even knowing it, really. Right. I was occupied and busy at night with, schoolwork, gaming, and other hobbies that I just didn't really care to spend my time thinking about food. And that's how I did that. And I lost a significant amount of weight.
You did during that time?
Yeah, that was how I lost the initial weight on keto the first time. So...
That was before all this fasting stuff was kind of mainstream in the keto world. I think that intermittent fasting and keto kind of go hand in hand because of how even your blood sugar is, and you don't get that hanger that you normally get when you would just say only be eating carbs. And so I know I read a lot of the fasting forums on Reddit, and a lot of them are they can't get through, they can't do it, and it's because when they do eat, they're eating carbs.
Right.
So
you're not accessing those
right.
stores of fat.
Right.
Within, what is it called, when you're normally eating glucose instead of being in ketosis, when you're going after stored fat after you use the stores in your liver.
Right.
And there's no glucose in your blood, so you access the fat stores that you have on hand.
So let's say that you're used to eating all these snacks and everything like that, and now you want to push it again, and you kind of want to do a 16-8 or a 2 meal a day type of eating plan. I would suggest, if you're used to eating breakfast, that you push back your breakfast 10 minutes a day or 15 minutes a day in the beginning. And so if you're used to having breakfast at 6 in the morning, maybe have it at 6:15 or 6:10, and then 6:30, and then 7, and then eventually your first meal will end up being lunch. And when you do that, you're already in a 16-8 type of feeding schedule. And
but I was just saying 16-8, people might not know what that means.
16 hours of fasting, which includes sleep, and then 8 hours of eating. I mean, don't eat the entirety of the 8 hours.
It just means you have an 8-hour window to ingest calories during that time. So that will usually mean lunch and a dinner, and then bed. Your 16 hours, wake up again, wait, until lunch and do it again, and that would mean 16-8, which is a very common way that a lot of people do intermittent fasting.
Well, I used to be a very hangry person. If you got in the way of a meal, for me, I was violent. Not violent, but my husband would very, very tread softly around me in that case. Or if I would be on the way home, he was coming home from work, and I felt like I had a hankering for something, and he refused to get it for me. Oh, there was hell to pay when he got home, because I was so addicted. I was addicted to carbs, planning out my next thing. What's the greatest thing that I could eat right now? What's the thing that could make me the happiest? Every day for me was a bucket list of all the terrible foods that I wanted to eat. And now it's so different that if I know that I'm if I can't get access to food, I know that I'm going to be okay. Mm-hmm. It's not the end of the world. And that's what fasting can do for you, is it takes the power away from food so that you're no longer hangry. And that, hey, I can't eat right now. I feel a little hungry, but that'll go away. And you won't be hungry forever. You have a hunger pang, and then 10, 20 minutes later, it's gone. And then,
isn't being hangry just your blood
sugar
levels going
is,
like this and signaling to you, I need to eat. There's something wrong. And when you switch over and you start fasting, you're tapping into those stores, and it's just you're just very even keel. You just feel I do get hungry because I eat when I come home. I feel like around 5 o'clock, I feel hungry, but it's not like I don't feel like emotionally hungry.
Right.
I feel like, okay, I'd like to eat now, and but I know that like on the train ride home, I'm like, I'm gonna survive until I get home. And when I do eat, I feel like, oh, great, I'm eating this huge meal. It's, and I just feel a lot better like that than going throughout the day, going through like this roller coaster ride of like ups and downs.
Right.
I feel like that's a horrible way to live.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they even make a joke out of it, right? Like Snickers.
You're not you.
You're Danny DeVito or whoever you are. You're Aretha Franklin or whoever when you're hungry. And that's because so many people go through these roller coasters of like, getting low on blood sugar because they've been eating like these empty carbs. And it's just, I feel like so much pressure is relieved off of me because, even if I'm not going to get home until like 7, I know I'm going to be fine. And I could wait until then and make the right choice instead of like, I'll go stopping at a vending machine and on the way home because I just missed my bus and I'm not going to be home until 7 o'clock.
And when you actually know like your body, it's like so relieving to know that, I'm not controlled by food anymore. My emotions are not controlled by food anymore. And that's the kind of thing that fasting allows, is for you to like learn those signals from like what your body needs. Like I always have this need for salt now. And I don't even think I would know that before, but sometimes I'm just like, God, I want some salt, like I want butter on everything. And when I do eat it, I don't ever feel bad afterward.
No, I don't.
I never feel bad eating one meal a day and literally dunking a steak into butter. Garlic
or just
butter.
like a giant steak with a salt.
Yeah, I never feel bad about it. And I never have like a bad reaction to it like I used to when I would have,
like half a pizza.
Or a McDonald's meal or, French fries or, cheesy fries. I used to get cheesy fries and I'd get like a Philly cheesesteak and cheesy fries and like that was like a daily thing for a while. And afterwards I would feel terrible. I never feel that way.
Like my initial reaction when you said that, I had like this thing that was like, it came up in my mind and it was like, ew. But not because of the food tasting bad, but just ew and how terrible you feel afterward. That's literally why. Like it's like you said, eating a steak with like cream spinach, béarnaise sauce on top. And I'm thinking about it. I've never felt like overly disgustingly full from that.
Never.
I feel like satiated, satisfied, but never like
there's a reason for this, I believe. I think that, we are used to eating like meat. And our bodies are designed to eat vegetables and meat and fat. But I don't think we've evolved enough for the carbs. So I don't think that there's like this signal that your stomach sends your brain to say enough is enough. Like I can never overeat steak. Like I'm like, okay, gosh, I'm done. I'm full. But I don't feel sick when I'm full. And that's the difference between us now and us how we used to be. Because I would eat until I wanted to barf. And then a couple hours, it would start all over again.
There's more room, right? Shove it down the gullet. Yeah. With pizza, just like I would have like, I can't believe how many pieces of pizza I could eat in one sitting. It was pretty scary, actually. My husband could eat an entire pizza too. And just like maybe like, I don't know, 30 minutes later, I could put another piece in there. But with eating one meal that's like has enough fat and protein and salt, and I just feel like I don't want to eat until tomorrow.
Right.
And by the time tomorrow comes, it's like you use up all that energy, and you're like, I feel like I'm almost clear, not clear, but just like empty.
Right.
My stomach's empty, and it's like ready for more nutrition.
Like you actually feel like you're eating nutritious food, and I know that sounds really lame, but until you're on keto and you can actually. It's like you can tell what food is good, like, and you can tell that salt and all these things that people are saying are bad for you, like fat and salt, that your body is meant to like run on these things. And I feel the best when I have them. And that doesn't mean though that I supplement and just try to eat as much fat as possible, but I do enjoy a great béarnaise sauce and I do enjoy butter on my steak and on my vegetables all day, every day.
So, we do an OMAD lifestyle, which is one meal a day, and we just wanted to go over some of the positive things that we've noticed when we are doing OMAD. One of them is obviously not having to meal prep every single meal that you're going to eat. It's just like you focus on one meal. It's going to be a great meal. You can, really buy high quality products, like organically fed.
We have Butcher Box, which is a humanely raised organic meat subscription, and then you get to choose all these different options. They've got chicken and ground beef and steak.
Scallops.
Right, we get scallops. I've eaten scallops with butter and steak and cream spinach. I have that all the time, and it's like something that you would go and you would pay $100 for at a steakhouse. And I'm able to make something just as delicious. And I remember we actually went out to dinner. I think it was on our anniversary, and we got the same thing that we would have had when we were at home. But I think my husband was just like we can like make this. Yeah. We've made this, and so that's the beauty of like being not only being keto, but like who gets to eat like that every day?
It's like eating like royalty, yeah.
Right,
because you're not buying all this other stuff. You can have one meal that you really indulge in, have an indulgent meal, and then move on with your day.
I mean, obviously you save a lot of money when you eat this way because you're not eating all these bars and all these shakes, and you end up not only not having to worry about it, but saving money that way. But I don't know if we necessarily save that much money because we do end up spending the money on higher quality ingredients. But you do less shopping, that's for sure. And honestly, it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it because instead of planning, what I'm having for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a week, I'm just planning 7 meals. And we it's funny, we are saying like we do those what I eat in a week videos, but a lot of the stuff is always the same for us. We tend to like just have these things that we like to eat, and we make them all the time. And ever since we started doing this YouTube channel, we've been like, oh my God, like we're eating the same thing. We have to change it up. So, I think that we should commit to maybe trying a new recipe every week. We have like autopilot going on in our head. Like I even have like an Amazon order thing where come
on, you eat a lot of steak every week. I mean, we definitely need to diversify and try some things out. But you just have your favorites. That you have the things that you want to come home and you're like, I want a steak tonight. I want.
I eat like a steak like every night though.
So one of our biggest tips when trying intermittent fasting is to slowly incorporate it into your life. Don't try to go into OMAD. We've been doing keto and, living this way for a very long time, years, and we're used to it. But, if you're not used to it, if you're not fat adapted, we just recommend to slowly integrate it into your life by first cutting out snacks and then going to 2 meals. And then if you want to, you can go to OMAD. That's up to you. And then the beginning is going to be really hard. So, what I do is I have, a lot of coffee on hand. I don't drink bulletproof coffee like we mentioned earlier. I rather eat my calories than drink them. So I have a lot of coffee on hand, tea, water, and that can keep me full. Or, when I'm having a hunger pang, if I do have one, I drink those things, and they tend to help with that.
Electrolytes.
Some people take electrolyte supplements that help with hunger pains. And you can incorporate those if you feel like you need
bone
those.
broth is what a lot of people do too. They drink bone broth, and it has a lot of nutrients in it, but it doesn't have a lot of calories. So maybe look into bone broth. There's tons of like companies that are making like really high quality bone broths now. I forgot the name of one. I actually ordered it. It's expensive. You can even make your own bone broth, and it's kind of like having a soup, but it's kind of cheating because there's not that many calories in it, but it has all those nutrients in it. So if you want something like if you're waiting for lunch and you're really hungry in the morning, why don't you try some bone broth, and that might get you through. Or even if you want to try OMAD, have bone broth for lunch, and that's kind of like a way to fill up your stomach and get those nutrients, and then you'll feel great for dinner. So those are our tips for that.
And some people, can't drink black coffee. I feel like it took me a long time to get used to the taste of black coffee. I would put heavy whipping cream in mine normally, but they say that, anything over 50 calories during your fasting period is going to kick you out of the fasting mode. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what everybody says. So I wouldn't recommend putting heavy whipping cream or almond milk or something, unless if it's going to be under 50 calories. But personally, I just got used to drinking it black. I feel like after a while, like you as well, I know you didn't like drinking either. My mom won't ever drink black coffee, but adding like a pinch of salt into it when you brew it. Helps to take away that bitterness. I heard that was like what diners do. They add like salt into their coffee to make it cheap coffee like taste a little bit better and to cut the bitterness. So you could try that. And also, investing in good quality coffee also helps because, coffee's kind of like a wine or a beer. You can taste like different elements with the way that they roast the beans and things like that. So don't get like the cheapest coffee, and that will help. Emily tends to drink the cheapest coffee sometimes, and I think I've raised her standard a bit, right?
A little bit, but I do enjoy my cheap coffee. I just drink so much of it that, oh my God, sometimes I would think about the cost, and
to me, it's worth it.
I ever get U-Bahn coffee? U-Bahn coffee?
U-Bahn? What?
U-Bahn?
No, what is that?
It's in Vegas Family Vacation. I don't know if you've ever seen it. They're digging in the desert for these coffee cans, and he's like, U-Bahn coffee. That stuff is like $4 for a big container of it on Amazon.
Absolutely not.
And sometimes I'll get that, when I'm whatever. I'm cheap sometimes.
Well, I mean, if you can drink
your coffee is like, it sends me to the next level. Like sometimes I'll come home from Sarah's house and Brad's like, "Whoa, you're lit," because I'm on caffeine high or something. So
I don't think it does anything to me. It just sustains me at this point. You know what I mean? But having good coffee on hand, having tea. You can have different types of tea that don't have calories in them. You know what I mean?
I'm not much of a
green
tea drinker, but sure.
And just water. I mean. Yeah, those are some of the things that I keep on hand to make sure that I can, survive till my my one meal a day.
You will get used to it though, eventually. Just give it time, and I would have a hard time going back to eating. Sometimes I will eat lunch.
Well, today we were filming this video and we made a keto pizza a couple hours ago, which was earlier for us. We really don't eat at like 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And we felt it afterward. We were like, I want to take a nap, you know what I mean? But we had things to do. And so, if we had waited to eat it afterward, I feel like we would have been, we would have more energy. And, I just feel like it does affect me now when I eat earlier. I feel a little bit more lethargic, Some people say that it's related to like when you eat a huge meal at work. I would remember we would go out to, lunch and I would feel like crap the entire rest of the afternoon. And it's like you have so many hours left that you have to be there and you're just like, oh my God, what time is it? So now it's just like I feel like I have so much clarity to just like get through the day, and when I get home I get to indulge in my one meal. And if this is your first time watching us and you want to see us 150 pounds heavier, click on this video right here. We'll see you over there.